Mwah.
Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. I hope you guys are all doing well, and we've got lots to talk about. We've got Loki, we've got some Vin Diesel news, we've got what else do we have? We've got so much stuff that we're going to have to go over. We've got the Shang-Chi trailer as well we're going to be talking about, and the Suicide Squad trailer. So there is a lot of news to talk about, and I'm going to be talking about it with my good friend Clint, and also producer James might come in to cut himself off at some point in the show. I hope.
What?
I'm Edward Lauder. I'm the editor of Small Screen, and all the news news items we'll be talking about tonight, you can actually find over at Small Screen, where you can go. You can go to small-screen.co.uk, and you can get all of that stuff there. And you can also follow us on social media. That'd be great at Small Screen Co. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be wonderful too. That would be really, really cool. And you can do that. On YouTube, and if you're on Facebook, like and do what you guys do on Facebook. I don't know. And yes, as James is telling me via the screen here, you can also go to our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/smallscreenco. Right, now that I've got all that out of the way, I would like to say hello to everybody in the chat. So who do we have? We have Kevin Feige, apparently saying, I love Loki. I'm very sure you do, Kevin. Thank you. And we got Walter Hamada, who seems to like Loki too. He says everybody loves Loki. That sounds like a pretty good like sitcom. Rajnish says, "Hey Ed, looking forward to the show." Thank you very much, Raj. And we've also got Bob. We've got Bobby in the chat as well. He says, "Hi everyone. We've got to call her Bobby from now on. That is what we're calling her." And Clint is saying, "Hey" to everyone.
Bobby.
Clint's also in the chat. So why don't we just bring Clint straight in? Should we do?
Don't bullshit me.
Wow, here we go. We've got a
What's happening?
streamlined show this evening. How are you doing, Clint?
I'm doing great. What's happening, gang?
Yeah, I'm good too. So we've got a lot of stuff. Well, enough. He's gone crazy.
Yes.
I noticed yesterday there wasn't so much of the, interventions. Let's call them the intrusions from producer James. So I think he's going to go bonkers tonight.
I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
We used to. We got Kazakhs in the chat. Hey, Kazakhs, how you doing? How you doing, Kazakhs? I hope you're doing very, very well. Have we got something for Kazakhs?
Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства? Cocainum.
One day they're gonna nail us for copyright strike on that clip.
Do you reckon? I hope not.
Kazakhs.
There we go. That's for Kazakhs. We all Kazakhs wants that cocainum. Yeah, and so does Raj apparently. So Raj wants that as well. Right. Should we just get on to what I think we both wanted to talk about?
I don't do requests.
I'm talking to Clint, James.
Cocainum.
There we go. And what we wanted to talk about was the fact that Loki loves Loki.
Yes, Loki loves Loki. Is that weird?
Well, it's not been officially revealed yet, but judging by episode 3 of Loki that dropped Wednesday, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And I think you think so too, Clint.
I do, and I was, I sent you some images of, of like Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek running together from an explosion, and 007 and his love interest running from other things, and that's the feel I got.
Those explosions.
Yeah, so many explosions. But that was the feel I got from the last spoiler alert if you didn't see the end of Loki last week. There was a lot of them running around while in chaos, running from things falling and exploding, and you do kind of a thing when there's like a connection. It seems like they were like, grabbing her arm to pull her away from, and then running hand in hand to get it. We're getting out of here. Granted, it's two people in a crowd. Maybe, would Black Widow and Hawkeye do that? maybe, you know, and they're buddies, but not quite like that. It felt a little more intimate. You know what I mean? It's like a unexplained. It's like a natural body language when you care for someone. You know what I mean? You're pulling them out of harm's way, and that's the feel you got. You know, and they just kept going and going, and so it's kind of funny. It's like Loki on Loki action. Is that perverse? I mean, that's what I thought, and I was like, and this was earlier in the week, and I was like, I can't wait to get to the live chat, and then I've seen it on other channels, and I've seen people talking about it online, and I'm like, I'm not the only one. It's an obvious thing, you know what I mean? You see the connection, and in fact, as soon as I saw her try to enchant him, that she went over and put her hands on his, and he was like, what are you doing? But it was almost a romantic look to it. You know what I mean? And I exactly. And so I don't know if you want to talk about this for a little bit. I've got theories, but go ahead.
I really
what do you think about it?
I really want to hear your. We've got Kazakhs in the chat saying Loki is a narcissist. I can't believe it. Well, yeah, exactly. I think you're being slightly ironic there, Kazakhs. Loki is the biggest narcissist in the MCU, probably bigger than Tony Stark, and that's saying something because Tony Stark loves.
So that's is that true?
And there's the man that Tony Stark is based on, at least in modern life, and
Wow.
And you could really get that sense, you know, that Kazakh says, yeah. Is that going to come up? Probably.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. I knew that was coming. So yeah, like if Loki's going to end up having a meaningful relationship with anyone, it'll probably be himself. And there was a lot of there was that whole kind of scene where the episode really slowed down, and it was the scene on the train between Loki and Sylvie. She's like adamantly calling herself, and we'll probably go into that in a second as well, what that means. I think we did talk about that on last week's show, but there's some more stuff in this week's show that kind of, to me, made me think more that Sylvie is an amalgamation of two characters, of Lady Loki and Sylvie Lushton. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think I think they're taking elements from that other character as well, because Enchantress is like her powers are slightly similar to what this version of Loki has. So I think it's still going to be a version of Loki. It's just they've kind of taken elements of that character and brought it into this one.
I thought that until about 2 hours ago, and then I started talking, and all of a sudden I heard the words coming out of my mouth, and I had a light bulb go off. Okay. And I had a realization. I was like, and also I've seen a lot of people on social media and things, and I was sent some screenshots of the episode and was like, man, can we just get 5 more seasons of just them two hanging out? And there were some people that are like, I don't like her from different reasons. Some of them are like, that's not Lady Loki, she's not supposed to have blonde hair. And then other people, just people are dumb. People get been out of shape before.
She's a woman. I don't like women.
Yeah, there's that. Oh, great. Just what we need. Another female character that's got ability.
Wow.
Gosh. Yeah, no. So anyway, I started thinking, and I was like, I'm like, Loki on Loki, and it's a shame you can't have that. And then I remembered I didn't even load it up on my screen. I'm gonna pull my phone up. I don't know if you're gonna even be able to see this, but there's this image of Enchantress. I was looking for an image of her. Probably looks like crap through this thing, but anyway, and it's her like this. She's got and it's a cartoon version of the Enchantress, and it's her, and it looks exactly like when the Lady Loki Sylvie goes wah, like and angry, she's pissed, and all of a sudden I said, dude, what if she's actually the Enchantress? And the TVA are taking us for a ride, and this whole thing is a mess. There it is. Thank you. Yeah, and I was like, because that looks just like her, and I was like, that would, that would make it you could that would make it okay for them to be together. And I said, wow, what a ride that would be to take us on, to be like, oh yeah, look, they're perfect, look at them fall in love. I wish they could be together, but that's kind of a weird multiverse incest, not incest, masturbation, you know what I mean? Like what I don't know if that's okay or not.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Exactly. But I was like, two Lokis, it feels so weird, but I wish it could happen. I was like, well, maybe that was the point the whole time. Maybe it really is the Enchantress. Maybe I'm ridiculous, but I think it would be cool if it was the Enchantress, actually. And you know, well, what about the paperwork that says Sylvie, you know, that could have all been manipulated to maybe help manipulate Loki. Yeah. It's all TVA stuff. All of it. We can't trust anything they say. So, you know, we just found out in the last episode that they're spoiler alert, that that all of the TVA agents are variants. So who knows? Yeah. So you know, that's just me daydreaming about it. But I think what a perfect love story. Man falls in love with himself. Can't have a relationship with himself. Finds out himself is not himself. Now he can.
Now it's okay.
Now it's okay to fornicate with himself, because it's not himself. So anyway, I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but
I think you've got a point. But also, what game is Sylvie playing then? Because she's really playing along with the fact that she's a variant, and that she's a variant of Loki.
She could just have her she's not showing her cards. She hasn't given much information. She's like, don't call me that. It could be another Loki, because in the comics, there's a lot of different versions of the Enchantress, and she could have another relationship with another Loki, or you know what I mean? And maybe she's pissed at him, and he's like, "Hey, Loki," and she's like, "Don't call me that." You know what I mean? That could make sense. Maybe. You know, and it could be another Loki doing it. I don't know.
I subscribe to that theory, Matt. So Clint. This is where Loki Kid comes from. That's a good theory, Matt.
So this is where Kid Loki comes from. Probably.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be weird. Kazakh says she's actually Lady Mephisto. Mephisto. Well, actually, I suppose that there is a. They kind of teased that to begin with, didn't they? In the church, there was that whole thing where he points at the picture of the devil. But I think it's more to do with the horns than anything else that she goes around wearing.
Well, my deal is just that it's made it kind of weird for people out there where they've been like, if they get romantic, I don't know if I like that. To even though technically it's not incest. I don't. How many times could I say that word on one live stream until we get some kind of a
I live in France, and incest is a thing in a lot of French medium. Like honestly, like I
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
It's actually true. So I brought this up because I studied French at university. I did French. I did European politics and French. And when I was talking, we were doing this movie called Fleur du Mal, which means flower of evil, and in it there's this big incest story between a brother and a sister. And I remember the same year we were doing another book about called Cyrano de Bergerac, which is another famous French book, which is all about a man that loves his cousin. And I was like, is this just a thing in like French literature and like pop culture, just that brothers and sisters, cousins just get it on all the time? And the lecturer was like, yeah, it's a thing. Lolita is not French. Lolita is Russian. I think the original book, but there is that in there as well. But like, so maybe I think it is Russian. Lolita, I think it's written by a Russian.
The Borgias, there's
yeah, and there's a lot of that going on in that, and I think they might be going down this avenue as well, because one of the things about Loki that I love is that Tom Hiddleston's really made it very Shakespearean, and that's another thing where in a lot of Shakespeare stuff, it's a lot of cousins loving one another and getting it on, and there's a lot of that. So I honestly do think they're going to go down that route and have Loki be with Loki. And it makes sense. It makes sense for the character, because literally the only person that Loki can have a meaningful relationship with is himself. And there's that whole conversation that he has with Sylvie where they talk about their past relationships, and he kind of says, I've never had a meaningful one. And there's that whole thing about, you know, he reveals that he has had relationships with both men and women. He swings both ways. That was a big thing, I think, for the MCU. The director, Karen, I can't remember her last name. That's annoying me.
I don't have it this time, but
if someone could tell me in the comments rather than me searching for it, that'd be great. But yeah, the director of Loki, of the series, she's directed all 3 episodes so far. I think she's going to direct all of them, or has directed all of them. But she said that was a really important thing for her to do when she agreed to do the show. That was the thing she wanted to put in. And which is interesting as well. And it's interesting the fact that this is a female version of Loki. Kate Herron, that's it. Kate Herron. Not Karen, Kate. And I think they're going to go down that route. And I would like to see them kind of bring Enchantress into this and it not be Loki in the end. But the way these shows have gone, they haven't had big twists in them. You know, we were all talking about like how there was going to be a twist in WandaVision, and there wasn't one. There wasn't a twist in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It seems as though it's not really something they're doing with these shows. They're making them very, in a weird way, safe, even though Loki being Loki isn't safe.
That isn't safe. Loki on Loki action is not necessarily safe. It's, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That seems a little. Man, there's going to be all kinds of dirty videos. Loki on Loki, but but yeah, like for me, that's what makes it okay. I feel like, man, I wish they could be together. They can. It's actually the Enchantress. That's why she looks exactly like the Enchantress and has different powers. Even though, yes, I know different multiverse versions, different variants have different powers and whatnot. But anyway. Maybe they'll just have a big Loki orgy with like all of the Lokis, you know.
I think that'd be interesting, and I wouldn't put it past. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Tom Hiddleston for being like, I think we should really explore this avenue. It's just a Loki love fest.
And she said, "You're not as hedonistic as I am, so who knows?"
We've got Sean Harrigan in the comments saying that Sophia Di Martino is fantastic so far, a great Loki. So I think she's brilliant.
I love her.
But I'm going to say one thing about this episode that I didn't like was I felt it really did feel like an episode of Doctor Who for me. And maybe it's the Tom Hiddleston factor. He does feel a bit like a kind of David Tennant-esque Doctor Who. And there was a lot of running around in what were obviously sets. And it's like there was something about that scene where they were running towards what was it again? The Ark, that I felt was a bit too TV, made for TV. And if you compare it to like WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it felt a bit kind of more budget than the rest of the shows they've done so far. And I think one of the reasons is because they did go for this big kind of scope of like an apocalyptic scene on a moon, Lamentis 1, I think the moon's called, and that's going through an apocalyptic event. And they didn't really have the budget to do it properly. And also, at this point, I think they should just cut Loki's hair because the wig doesn't look good anymore. And there are lots of moments where Tom Hiddleston does this thing because he's got this hair and he's got like it just feels too weighted at the back, and he looks like Tommy Wiseau. He really looks like Tommy Wiseau, and he does that whole point where he's like looking up, he's like puts his hair back, and I'm just like, oh, this looks just so wrong. I just can't. The way he looks is just silly, and I think just cut his hair. Like he doesn't need to have the long hair anymore. They did it with Thor.
I looked it up. It was the same wig guy from Jupiter's Legacy, which is amazing. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
This guy's made so much money recently, and he's like the worst wig guy in Hollywood.
There are elements of this that feel like I don't know, like TV, like, but you know, there was things about Thor Ragnarok that felt that way to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I kind of instead of letting any of that bother me, I kind of just think, you know what? it's the same universe, but a lot of these different characters, it has more of a Thor Asgardian kind of a feel to it.
I didn't feel that way with Guardians of the Galaxy though. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Maybe I need to
but
rewatch.
that's because that's more of a Guardians of the Galaxy thing, and then you get a different kind of feel when you watch Captain America. They kind of feel close, but I just kind of feel like it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's a little campier. I mean, Loki's a little campier, and that's okay. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I thought there were really good points of. I really enjoyed the whole singing sequence with Tom Hiddleston, where you kind of you felt him kind of really wanting to get like have a feel of getting back to his time on Asgard. That's probably the best scene.
And after all he's been through, you know, for him to just be surrounded by people and having fun like he did in other scenes, you know, even when he was in disguise. But I've heard some theories from other people too, like what was I watching? I was listening to Den of Nerds like live stream the other day.
I'm joking.
Wow, what can I say?
Hen of Herds. No, I like that guy's live streams and stuff. I like, and so anyway,
he's good.
He's good, and so anyway, he had a theory about this being like she fell asleep and they enchanted her, like Loki enchanted her while she was asleep, and because as soon as she wakes up to him singing, it kind of takes a different tone, and I was like, hey, that's interesting because it does have a different feel. I mean, I watched it again after that, and I was like, it does have a different tone. And then the helpless ending, and I was like, what if this is all a dream to manipulate her? You know what I mean? And he's enchanted her, and we wake up and Sue Ellen didn't kill JR, which is an old reference. But yeah, it was just a dream. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And we do know that's like what's it called? That's like the thing not to do is never fall asleep, like especially in a show like this. Like, I actually think you're right. I think that is a very good theory.
Yeah, and I ordinarily wouldn't bring up other shows theories on our show.
Fine. I just joke about it. I say that I like John Campy all the time, and I get shit for it. So.
But it was such a interesting theory that I was like, ooh, I didn't think about that. I would prefer it to all be real and Loki getting it on. You know, I'm down with that. That's what I prefer. And I'd love for me to be right, but who knows? That's the fun of these shows. And they with the, like, instead of like movies, we get the movie, you get all the information, but they're serving it up a little bit differently in a way that we have to wonder what's going to happen week to week to week. And some people complain about it. I think it's great because I'm thinking about it and talking with my friends about it all week, and that's what makes it fun. People sometimes get
it's been getting us through these difficult times.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really annoys me when people are, get all butthurt about it at the show's over. And that's not how I wanted it to go. But hey, man, what about the ride? We had a fun ride. So
exactly. And we've got another one coming next week. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be what's going to happen. They're still on the train. And then they'll get to the Ark. And I think that that'd be a really interesting way of doing it. And I think it would show the kind of mischievous side of Loki, and I think that's something that we've just seen him be a bit kind of pathetic in this show. Really, whenever he's trying to be like devious, it doesn't work, and I do like that as well. But I'd like something to go kind of for one of his plans to kind of actually end up working. I think that'd be quite fun.
I kind of feel like he's the drunken master. He bumbles around, but when push comes to shove, just like he did when he slapped the collar on that TVA agent. Like when push comes to shove, he's got it where it counts. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it would be funny if he's just proven that he's the dominant Loki. You know what I mean? I'm actually the good Loki because I chanted you while you're asleep or whatever. There's that, and there's also the theory. A lot of people out there think he palmed an Infinity Stone stone, and that he's and because there's an interesting thing in that running sequence that I almost didn't even notice. I'm so busy paying attention to, like, look, they're romantically involved. He's got her by the arm. You know, you're so busy watching that I almost just dismissed that he stopped a building from collapsing on them.
He's got the time stone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got to like
that's not one of his powers.
No. So but they just kind of glazed over that like it didn't happen. So he could also be playing her that way, is that he's got that. So, and that might be why he's not devastated that he broke the gadget. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I got this thing. We're going to be just fine, but I'm going to keep toying with you for a minute, and you know, I don't know.
Which is why he's probably not that worried about what's actually going on. He's just kind of, I think he's just going on for the ride, and then be like, oh, fine, I've got the time stone, I can reverse time, and we're fine. I just wanted to see how this worked out.
Yes,
I think I think that works. Yeah,
that's another theory. So, but because that's like, did you notice that and just kind of dismiss it? Like,
when I first watched it, I was like, that's weird, and then I was like, all right, fine, it must be one of his powers. But that never occurred to me that he's got a time stone.
He's got a time stone from where?
When he was in the desk,
the TVA, I think he took the
paperweights. Remember when they said, "Oh yeah, we got them all over the place." So
scene, but I didn't see him take one.
Yeah, but you don't see Loki take things. You also didn't see him take the time twister. He just that's one of his tricks. He's like, these things are worthless. Just in case, I'll put one of these in my, and then he's got that thing in his back pocket. Like,
maybe
so. So should we have a look at the comments? Go through the comments. So Raj says, I think it's great that Loki is bisexual for representation. It should be a so what kind of thing, but it's an indictment that society is so bigoted and intolerant that it becomes a big deal. Honestly, Raj, I completely agree with you. I liked the way it was done in the show because it was kind of a passing so what kind of moment. It wasn't a big thing, but it was turned into a big thing by a lot of people online that really, honestly, we shouldn't be paying too much attention to. And Raj then says, the only thing about the show is how it messes with the original timeline. Is the original timeline erased? It has branched into its own separate universe. Has it branched into its own separate universe? I've gone cross-eyed. Yeah, that's quite complicated. The timeline thing is a bit weird. I would say the way this is planning out, I think as far as the main MCU timeline is concerned, I wouldn't worry about it to this point. I'm pretty sure things will end up working themselves out towards the end of the show. I think this is how these shows go, and I do wonder whether elements of this are going to seep into Doctor Strange 2. That's what I'm thinking of, because I think this is going to be the beginning of the multiverse, and I think we're going to see what the TVA is really up to.
Yeah,
and what they really are. Because as you said, like the big revelation from that episode, as far as the TVA is concerned, is that everybody that works for the TVA is actually a variant. So therefore, the guy that didn't know what a fish was would have known what a fish was at some point in his life.
He just forgot.
He just forgot.
I love that they were like, yeah, she likes margaritas. She's a person, you know?
Yeah. Raj then asks, what we thinking about Owen Wilson and Loki? Good, bad, meh. You know what I think about Owen Wilson and Loki? Wow. Try it. Wow. Loki. Loki. Oh, wow.
Shut up!
Oh,
could
boy.
just do that for hours.
Wow.
Now you took the time stone. Wow. No, but actually, what I know that if it does. Wow, Loki, great plan. Wow.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. if that isn't the time stone that he's got, that if that doesn't get him out of this mess, Mobius is going to show up and grab them and get him out of there. And either before or after, Loki's going to tell him that he is actually not made by the TVA. He is his own person. He's going to let him know the deal. You guys are already exist. Mobius already has some weird suspicion that something's suspicious because of the rings, as James said, those rings in the office for no reason. That's They wouldn't have pointed attention to that. And what's going to happen is Ravonna Renslayer is going to jump on board with them, and they're all going to go and defeat Kang the Conqueror, and then it's going to end with all of them on jet skis, and everyone's going to live
I was
happily
going to
ever
say
after.
a jet ski is definitely going to come into this at some point, isn't it? So it'll end the show with Loki. You got me a jet ski. Wow.
Oh my god, that's the worst image ever.
Kazakhs then adds that's the worst image ever. JR JR was actually Mephisto. I'm not sure who JR was.
J.R. Ewing, he's the one who didn't get killed, and it was just a dream. Like I said, it's an old 80s TV show reference.
JR, Edward.
Yeah.
Then we got Sean Harrigan saying "drunken master" I think in reference to Loki.
Yeah,
he is a drunken master, isn't he? I love hearing watching him say "another." It gave me chills. I don't know why. It brought me back to Thor.
One of the best experiences I've ever had in a theater was watching Legend of the Drunken Master in the cheap theater in Toronto, and everyone was just wired and hooting and hollering and having so much fun and laughing, and yeah, it sticks in my memory.
That's awesome. Dude, you know what's funny? What's interesting is I've enjoyed all of these episodes. Of course, Clint likes everything, but I've enjoyed all 3 episodes, but it really blew my mind. And I guess it's just different. People have different tastes. That a lot of people thought this was a boring episode. I thought it was boring. A lot of people said that on social media, and then I posted. I was like, "Are you kidding me? We got a little bit of character development, a little relationship development between the Lokis. You got to learn about the agents. You got fight scenes. You got action. You got new locations. We're not just in the TVA. It's like there's a lot of cool things in this episode." Yeah. And it was a short episode too. It wasn't even that long of a show. So it's like, how what do you want, man? Like, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of people. What do you think? You think it was?
No, it wasn't boring. It was. I think it was one of the most interesting episodes out of all of them. I think that I to be honest, I have liked this show more than any other MCU show so far, and I think I like it because there are elements of for me, the best parts of this show and the best parts of each episode have been the moments where it's slowed down a lot and they're just talking to one another. And that's why I was talking, I think I mentioned this for the first episode, was that I felt like it was almost like a play. And some of the best scenes were the interactions between Loki and Mobius. And then this second episode had the same thing with Loki and Sylvie. And they're having genuinely like kind of meaningful conversations about things. You don't get that really in the MCU. I mean, there are some examples of it, but I felt like you got that in WandaVision. I really didn't think you got that in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The more I think about that show, the worse it gets, actually. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Duct tape.
Yeah, I really felt that worked. And I feel like this has got it's got a really good through line, and it's a really interesting character study of Loki, who is a really interesting character to begin with, and Tom Hiddleston plays him so well. And I think Sylvie is a really good addition to it. I think genius casting for Owen Wilson. Like, I think he is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of I'm forgetting her name now. I can't remember her name. The character, the Mbathu Raw. I can't remember her name.
It doesn't matter.
What is she doing? What is she?
She's the one. She's Mobius's boss.
Yeah, the Ravonna Renslayer.
Yeah, but I want to.
You want to know her actor name? Ravonna Renslayer. She's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gugu and Mbathu Raw, which is why I couldn't remember. I didn't want to get it wrong.
I can't even say that.
Yeah, she's a really, really good actress, and she's. I think there's a lot more from her character to come as well. I think we're going to be. I think the next episode there'll be quite a lot of her in it, and I'm really looking forward to that. But like, so far, I honestly, I just think people like to complain for the sake of complaining. And I do think there were elements of this episode that I felt were a bit Doctor Who-y. And as Sean Harrigan says, this is a Doctor Who reference, big ball of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, which is what's going on in this season as well. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And you know what? It just makes me think that Tom Hiddleston would have been the best Doctor Who of all time. I look at that and I think, God, he would have been great. And Sophia Di Martino, this is like her first big thing as well. Like she's been on done some smaller stuff in the UK and has done a lot of stage work, but this is the first big thing she's been in, and I'm really happy that they got her in. And it just shows that they're marvelous. They're just so good at casting. They really do know. And I do have one question about her character, and you might have a theory about this.
Okay.
Why is one of her horns broken?
That's a callback to the comics. There's yeah, and I thought it was really cool when she took that thing off and used it as a weapon. Yeah. I was like, that's super cool, dude. Like, that was awesome. There's a lot of cool things. It was cool to see when they were having their conversation, and then he brings up his mother, and then it cracks her shell a little bit, and she's like, "Tell me about her." Yeah. And it's like she's had her guard up the whole time, and finally she was like, and I'm like, okay, he cracked her shell, like talking about his mom, and that's like the beginning of it, you know. And I also liked the dagger when he comes up with the analogy for love and the dagger, and it's beautiful analogy, you know. It can hurt you, but it's beautiful. You could see yourself in it. All these things, and then he was like, nah, okay, and then they just threw it away. I was like, that's really funny, and I don't know. There's some cool, poetic, beautiful writing in a lot of these shows, like the Vision thing, where he was like, "What is grief if not the continuation of love, you know, or whatever." And like, I was like, when I remember hearing that line, and I was like, "Dude, that's a crazy." That's crazy line, and I thought that I started getting that feeling with the dagger line. I think it's really cool, and it's just, you know, people could complain they don't get enough explosions. Well, not if they see the end of this episode, but it's like there's some really great writing. I like that it's not just some cheap TV quickly written thing just tossed out there. You could tell these writers are great writers, so I really appreciate that.
They really, I think some of the best writing has been going on in these shows. Like WandaVision, I think, was beautifully written. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people get very hung up on being like, oh, it was boring because Mephisto didn't turn up. People get way too hung up on Mephisto, by the way. I know in the comments you'll probably say that, but I really think that people need to let that character go, because I don't think he's going to be turning up in the MCU at any time soon.
China.
But, yeah, exactly. This show, the head writer for this show is a guy called Michael Waldron, and he's been talking a lot about the show. But like, what makes me really, really excited is the fact that this show is already incredibly well written. We still got 3 episodes to come, but Michael Waldron is working on the Star Wars show, on the Star Wars movie with Kevin Feige. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Like, he is a very, very good writer, and he's been talking about the what they're planning for their next Star Wars film together, or the Star Wars film they're doing together, and it sounds very exciting. I think family is the word that he kept on using, so it seems as though that's going to be a big theme. And I think that's James telling us to move on to the next topic.
Before we do move, I'll just say that in regards to that actress you were talking about, I don't know much about her that plays the Renslayer, but they don't just throw people in there and waste them. You know what I mean? They're not. She wouldn't be on the. If she's as good as you say she is, something's gonna happen with her character. So now my brain's already going because of how they can use her, because they're not gonna put a useful tool for them in there and barely show her at all. So I think you're probably very right, and I'm excited to see what happens with that. And 2, Kevin Feige is not going to put his name on a Star Wars film and it not be awesome. So I can't wait to see what they do with that. So you heard any good Vin Diesel news lately?
Danzig 1979.
But
Sean soundtracks.
I saw F9 last night.
Yeah, I know, but before we talk about F9, I do want to address, Gugan Bathory is an incredible actress. Like she's an OBE first of all, so she's a British actress. Not easy to get an OBE. So she's an Order of the British Empire, which is what they're called. And she's been in Motherless Brooklyn was the film that I first saw her in and thought she's brilliant in. But she's been in loads of other stuff. She was in Jupiter Ascending, Belle. She was in Beyond the Lights. There was what was it? Misbehavior was a film that she was in recently. So she's been in loads of stuff, and The Morning Show as well. Which I thought she was great in, actually. And she's fantastic and a really well-known actress already, and she's just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm pretty sure her character is going to be very, very important in this show. So don't forget about her character. Right, yeah. Fast 9. So Vin Diesel been talking smack about Dwayne Johnson.
What?
Okay, so...
I don't even...
right. Oh my, that is so wrong. It's on so many levels. Let's get him off. Vin Diesel, who is the gift that just keeps on giving. Okay, you probably all know this. There has been a feud for many years now between Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And it all boils down to ego, like really. But Vin Diesel tried to explain it in an interview he did with Men's Health. And he basically says in this interview, he was like, the reason why we had this feud was because I needed to give that guy tough love because I wanted to get the best performance out of him possible. I've read what he said. It's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever read in my life. Because I'm sorry, I like Vin Diesel, but be honest, he's not a good actor. He does one thing, and that's just be bald and say in all of his movies.
He was method acting for sure.
So it's what he had to say. So it just makes me laugh. It was a tough character to embody, the Hobbs character. Yeah, really tough for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to embody that character. It's basically just muscles.
It's basically The Rock.
Yeah. So my approach at the time was a lot of tough love to assist in getting that performance where it needed to be. So, as a producer, to say, okay, we're going to take Dwayne Johnson, who's associated with wrestling, and we're going to force this cinematic world audience members to regard his character as someone that they don't know. Hobbs hits you like a ton of bricks. That's something I'm proud of, that aesthetic. Just big guy. That took a lot of work. We had to get there, and sometimes at the time I could give a lot of tough love.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Clint, what do you think of Fast 9? What do you think of Fast 9?
Well, I thought it was fun. I'm not going to do any spoilers because a lot of people haven't seen it yet. But I thought it was fun. It was garbage, but it was fun. It's I'll tell you what it's like. It's like when I went over to my best friend Chris Klink's house, who he listens to the show, so I'm doing a shout out. But I went over to his place one time, and he said, "We're going to watch this movie Crank," and I'm like, "What the hell is Crank?"
Crank's
and
brilliant.
we're like, "Yeah." He's like, just bear with me. And I go, what is it? He's like, this guy has to keep his heart rate up or he dies. It's Jason. And I was like, who's the guy? Jason Statham. So he drinks like Red Bulls and has sex and fight and gets into fights. And I go, dude, let's do this. So he and I cracked a 12-pack of beer and sat there and high-fived through the entire movie and laughed our asses off. It's stupid and ridiculous, but it's cinematic gold. And this was stupid and ridiculous, and it was fun. The only thing they were the only thing they were missing was the shark for them to jump over in the show. There was a lot of cars jumping, and I didn't see any sharks. That's what they needed. And for those who don't know what jumping the shark is, that's man, that's actually that would make a good clip.
I'll go grab it, but yeah, that's from Happy Days, and then Batman 1966 did the same kind of thing on the helicopter with the shark repellent.
Yeah, I heard that recently, that the term "jumping the shark" came from Happy Days.
It's Happy Days. It's
which is crazy.
For those who don't know at home, we're talking about it, assuming like y'all know it. It means when a show goes over the top to the point of ridiculousness, and they understand what they're doing, and they're just going for it anyway. It's like, this is over the top and stupid, you know what I mean? And some people use it as like, oh, they jumped the shark, like they went too ridiculous and didn't know it. But really, it's like a show is self-aware. They're like, this is just where we are now. We're at this point. Fuck it, let's go. And they just take it to the next level. And that's what they did in this show. They've like, where else can we go? We have to
They kind of rebranded that with Indiana Jones 4, Nuke in the Fridge. They were trying to make that the new Jump the Shark.
Yeah, you just have to. I mean, if you're a ridiculous action movie and you're putting out another episode, you just have to keep going and going. And they've gone about where no man has ever gone before.
Space. But man has gone to space.
Oh, never mind.
Not in a car. Yeah, honestly, I haven't watched this yet, but the Fast and Furious movies for me are headache inducing. And I completely understand people saying, yeah, they're a lot of fun, but there comes a point where it's like, really, like, you've got to have some sense of, like, I don't know, logic to their movies, because there's literally no logic there. And
wait till you see this. Wait till you see what the main thing they use to win, to save the day. Like it's insanity, and it's silly, but it's fun. I mean, half of it is we like the characters in these shows. You know what I mean? Like Ludacris, Tyrese, all these guys are in there. They're fun and you know, and I couldn't remember where one of the characters was from, and it was Khaleesi's right-hand woman on Game of Thrones. That actress, she's fantastic. She was really good in this. She didn't know how to drive. It was hilarious. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was a fun movie, and you know, I'm glad I saw it. You know, I could have stayed home and watched TV, and I went to the theater and I saw it and I had a good time. So
I'm gonna have, like, it's coming out, I think, next week in France in cinemas, so I probably will go. But honestly, I'm not sure how much I really want to watch a Fast and Furious movie without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in it, because he's not in this film, is he?
Yeah,
no, and there we go.
But there you get another wrestling star,
John Cena.
Yeah.
Did you see him in it?
I saw him.
You saw him? Wow.
I saw him, John Cena. I saw him. Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah,
can I finish off that quote that I just love this quote that Vin Diesel said.
Oh yeah.
He said,
rambling.
No, but it's this
boring.
You could tell that he gave John Cena a lot of tough love to help John Cena get that amazing performance. I just want to say that.
He said this: I would do anything I'd have to in order to get performances in anything I'm producing. What world does he live on if he thinks people are actually going to buy this shit? It's like, really, Vin? Like, first of Vin Diesel. I don't know.
But you know what started this whole thing was back when The Rock was shooting, and they had some problems. Apparently they didn't like The Rock was late a couple of times or something, and he pretty much said in some like tweets that or Instagram post or something, he said that, you know, if I look like I'm angry, I'm not, or about to explode in this movie, some of this is enacting, you know what I mean? Like that he was pissed on the set, and he made sure he didn't quite say who it was, but everybody kind of figured it out, you know?
Yeah, he said it was unprofessional conduct, and he called him a candy ass and stuff. And then there's a thing
was that Vin Diesel calling The Rock?
No, that was The Rock.
The Rock, yeah,
on his Instagram. And then there's a thing about the contracts where
the hitting things.
Yeah, they can only take as many hits as they give out.
Yeah.
You know, they can't.
And Jason Statham comes into that as well. I think he's also
they carried that contractual thing over to Hobbs and Shaw. So
yeah,
but yeah, it was The Rock who said that on Instagram. He said it was unprofessional conduct and people with their egos. And
But
It's
so wait, Vin Diesel was the one that was late, or was
no,
it
no, no. It was from what my understanding was, is this The Rock that was late a couple of times. And it's funny is I've heard interviews with The Rock where he talks about like, yeah, the kind of being a professional and this and that, and also just the professional attitude. I think The Rock was kind of late maybe, and then Vin Diesel was kind of a dick, and you know what I mean, and so like, and had some attitude about it.
No, that's so wrong.
And so it's pretty much two alpha males, you know what I mean? Both of them are two testosterone fueled alpha males. It's like they're gonna butt heads like that. That's like it's a lot like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's funny is after it was all said and done and their big feud and all that, that fueled them both to get to greatness. And then in the end, in the end, maybe Dwayne The Rock and Johnson and Vin Diesel will be besties. He even said on post also that he's like, look, we have our differences and different styles of work and different work ethics and whatnot, but when he's over at my house, he's Uncle Dwayne. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that made me think, oh well, he actually goes to your house. I mean, they can't hate each other that much if they're going over to each other's houses.
I think was for the social media's benefit.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. I think a huge part of this too is probably what we discussed in the with Kathleen Kennedy and other things yesterday is that people get clicks, people get ratings from hyping this thing up, and then once somebody says something and they didn't mention his name or blah 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 and it gets blown up a little bit. If you have an ego, you have to respond. You know what I mean? You're not going to stay quiet, or you look like you got owned. So you got to.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Once.
So you got to come back with a response, and I think that's what happens. And then they're camp or says, "Hey man, you can't let him say that about you. You got to say something." And so it just keeps going back and forth.
Yeah,
but
Kazax agrees with you. This is 100% marketing ploy.
Yeah,
because I remember there was. Is it Tyrese Gibson? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember him doing a lot of Instagram posts as well and being like Team Vin and Team Diesel and all
a lot
that
of
stuff.
crying too.
Yeah, and it was just it was weird. I remember seeing that being like, that's imagine if you did that in a workplace environment where you're like, imagine if you're working with someone in an office or something, and then you're posting all this shit on social media about the guy, like one of your colleagues. It's just ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And all this about a movie which is literally just about fast cars, and then Vin Diesel pops in every now and again. He goes, "Family," and it's all about family, and then goes away. Oh god, honestly, the movies would be nothing. Let's be honest here. The franchise would be dead without Dwayne Johnson. Like he came into that franchise and completely. I don't know. Nah, come on. They were going down a complete blind alley before. I think it was Fast 5. Fast 5 was the film that that Dwayne The Rock Johnson came in on. He did change the franchise.
I think a lot of it has to do with Justin Lin, though.
Yeah. They both came together. Yeah. Like Justin Lin was the director of that one. I think you're right, but it's like I do think that I don't know. I think for me, watching,
right. I'm always right. What are you talking about?
I think there's something I just don't know now. I do feel a bit weird about watching a Fast and Furious movie without Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I don't feel weird watching Hobbs and Shaw because I actually really enjoyed that film, even though it's complete and utter garbage.
Things will never be the same because the hierarchy of power in the
Hobbs and Shaw was a great film. I thought it was really good. I mean, it
was fun.
Popcorn action film. You can't call it garbage because it knows what it is.
Right? Yeah, that's the deal.
A Christopher Nolan movie or something. Come on, that's a bit.
I'm calling. No. I think it. No, yes, you're right. It knows what it is. It knows it's a blockbuster, but there can be good blockbusters that are like just solidly good. I think there are elements of Hobbs and Shaw that I just thought was a bit meh. Like the whole virus thing was a bit silly. I think
this isn't a 007 movie like that's like, this is kind of slightly ridiculous, but we're still going for real. It's gone to the point where they know it's not real and it's supposed to be that way. Now it's just like, okay, how stupid can we make this and make a fun movie? That's all it is.
Superpowers, you know.
They are superheroes now.
Yeah.
And there was the whole kind of Home Alone bit on where was it, like one of the Pacific Islands or something that they end up going to,
and they did that in Bond too.
Yeah, they did that in Bond too. But I thought it was better in Bond. I did enjoy that scene. I remember the thing is that I distinctly remember watching that film and then being like confused by how quickly it got dark. And I don't think it's a good thing when you're watching a movie.
Which film are you talking about?
Hobbs and Shaw. So that when they're setting up all the traps and things, on the island, it's like broad daylight, and then all of a sudden it's complete pitch. Like the fight starts in daylight, and then all of a sudden it's completely pitch black. And I remember being like, "That's weird." And I think if that happens in a movie and you're taken out of a movie by lighting, literally by lighting, I don't think the movie's doing a good job. And that's just my personal opinion. I thought it was fine. I think these films, they've gone on like it's Fast 9 for Christ's sake.
They did the same thing with the lighting in Bond 2 during the Home Alone moment.
Yeah, but there was a bit that it didn't, like the whole sequence didn't start at. No, James, stay on. You know, you can't do that. You can't come on and then piss off the minute you know you're going to be
everything. Then I'm going to do that for sure.
Like the Bond thing. Yes, you're right. It starts in the daytime, but then they wait a bit, and then the actual sequence starts at night and continues that way. It doesn't change halfway through. It literally looked like they had to do reshoots, and then they had to do the reshoots in the dark.
Well, maybe in the director's cut, you'll see why. You'll see that extra 10 minutes. Maybe it'll just be a complete static shot of the sun going down slowly, and you just hear the fight scenes in the background, and then it cuts to that scene that you said took you out of it.
Maybe, but I mean, I can't even remember anything else that happened in the film apart from the fight sequence where they're like fighting in different corridors but have the glass in the middle.
Yeah, The Rock punches really hard, and Jason Statham does a bunch of little punches.
Yeah, I'm Champagne. You call me Champagne. He's more like I can't remember.
Call it Sanchez, or you'll get a knuckle supper.
When he beats someone up with a champagne bottle. And Kazakh says, "Come back here, James. Fight me." Yeah, that's not fair, James. You can't do that.
Y'all gonna have a feud now? You'll be like, yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's gonna be like, James going, well, I was the producer, so I was trying to get the best out of him.
No, you're Vin Diesel in this situation, brother. Sorry, but you're the Vin Diesel in this situation. Trashing us.
I always thought Edward lived his life a quarter kilometer at a time. Yeah, you know.
So
see what I did there?
I do. Ultimately, you liked Fast 9. Right?
I mean, it was a stupid action movie. It was fun. It was like it's not winning an Academy Award. They're Letty. I'll tell you what bothers me. Letty, his name. I'm from the border, and I know a lot of Letties. Letty. Like and hearing him say Letty, I'm like, is there a D? And I haven't looked at the casting, the name, or is it Letty? But they say it Letty. It's like an Americanized version of the name Letty. I need to look that up because it bothers me. That's just a personal pet peeve. Growing up as a Spanish speaker, but yeah. So that's the only thing that really bothered me was every time they say Letty, and I remember every time I watch Fast and the Furious. So,
well, if that's the only thing that bothered you, then it's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's like watching the a little more ridiculous, more like Crank. If there was Crank 3, I know what I'm getting into when I go to watch that movie. Same thing. I know what I'm getting into. It's going to be silly and fun, and it was. And and the cast, there's a bunch of stupid. They're picking on each other and having fun with each other, and it was fun. It was a fun movie.
Was there a bit where Vin Diesel goes, "No, I prefer Corona," or something? I'm a Corona man.
No, there was not. But he's got a kid, and he's family man. He's got. It's like He's trying to stay out of the life, because he's got a kid now. And
can I ask you one question?
That's about all the spoiling I'll do.
No. You need to. Does it end with a family barbecue?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to see. I'm not going to tell you.
All these movies end with a bloody barbecue, and
Yeah.
just Vin Diesel with a beer in hand, just looking proud, just like as another Fast and Furious film.
I will tell you, there is a shot with a barbecue with a hamburger on a grill. That's as far. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you. Fam.
Hamada burger. Hamada burger. Hamada spoon.
And as Kazakh says, this is the perfect quote. Go first to the family. That's a direct line from the movie. I think we should move away from Fast and move on to something that I'm very excited about, which is Indiana Jones 5.
Boring.
you love.
I could just throw text over it like in a crawl. He also served as an executive producer on these films.
Yeah, we could. Do you want to do it quickly then?
Like that, like make it a bit, like we did last time, and use that music again. Okay, Kage Musha.
Okay. That's so you see when we do videos, we do them through StreamYard, and James is always recording. So anything that he finds funny, he's gonna clip and put into a show. And I can see him down there laughing his little ass off. He thinks it's hilarious. Right. Yeah, Indiana Jones 5. So there are two bits of news about this. First off, Harrison Ford's injured himself, which we knew was going to happen. He always does. So he
need some hyper. Not hyper, but we need like
more energy.
How you did on the on the camera.
Yeah.
Right. Lemon yellow. Lemon yellow. Yeah, lemon yellow.
Lemon yellow. Yemen yellow.
Lemon yellow. This is the voice actors and the actors workups. Rubber baby.
Lemon. Yellow lemon. Lemon yellow.
Yeah, James, I want to know, did you predict the future? Because I feel like last week you said, is he going to get hurt again?
Yeah, you did.
And I almost think that's the flashback clip you should be playing. You should be like, I called it, because I was like, either you're a prophet or you read the article, and it happened last week, and it made me question whether this was old news or new news.
I put it out in the ether.
Yeah,
so it's all James's fault. No, it did happen this week. It happened when they were rehearsing. They weren't even filming. They were rehearsing a fight sequence, and he injured his shoulder. So he's off for a while. He's not going to be filming. He's going to have to do rehabilitation. I think he hasn't broken anything, but Disney did put out a statement, and they said they're going to have to kind of rejig the schedule. But they are going to start on time. You would have thought that Indiana Jones being injured might delay the movie a bit, but apparently not. And got some. James is the real Loki. He's a variant. James is a variant. That's brilliant, Kazakhs. And Kazakhstan says Indiana Jones, the crystal skull, hips, knees, and shoulders.
Dude, that's the quote of the day right there. That's good.
And talking of leaks of potential titles, apparently now take this with as everyone said, I'm going to go all doomcock on you. Take this with a pinch of salt. Whatever he says before those videos. It's going to be called Indiana Jones and the Order of Elysium. That's the rumor, and that is a rumor.
Elysium is a goth club here in Austin, Texas, and I'd love Indiana Jones surrounded by a bunch of goths. Would be really fun. I've got a big question for you, man. What is a 78-year-old man doing fight scenes? What is he? What the hell are they doing? Like, why don't you have a stunt double for that? You know what I mean? Like, because a 78-year-old man just doing a fake punch can throw his shoulder out of the socket. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be probably what happened. He probably tore something, ligament or something in his shoulder just doing a swing. I'm sure Harrison Ford eats organic food and has the best yoga instructor and all these I saw Sir Paul McCartney last November, and actually the November before that, and he's getting he's getting up there too, but he was animated, moving around, and I know we've come to a point where older guys, especially that are wealthy and well taken care of and eat right and have physical therapists and everything else, can do things, but
put the cookie down.
Holy cow, he should not be doing fights. You know what I mean? Like what's the deal?
Well,
what's the deal with fight scenes?
What's the deal with fight scenes? This is nothing new as far as Harrison Ford's concerned. He's always injuring himself on sets. He's either injuring himself on sets or crashing planes. So if you're gonna do something, a shoulder injury is probably the best thing that you can do, rather than crash your plane.
I mean, they should have him in the sidecar with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, be like, Junior, we've got to blah blah blah, pull over. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
so he just suddenly changes into Sean Connery.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get old, when you're a Jones, but yeah, I feel like maybe or driving the motorcycle, you know what I mean? But I feel like maybe like fight scene, like super physical things for practically an 80-year-old man is a little bit weird. Like it's a little over the top.
He's in very good shape for a 78-year-old.
Yeah,
you have to say he's in you would expect that they would be bringing in stunt. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have them, but I bet you that he was probably like, I want to do this. And just imagine being the choreographer there, or the person that's doing that with him.
And you don't say no to Harrison Ford, like, I'm gonna do this shot, and they're like,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna fuck my shoulder.
He sounds like Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
it's a bit more. I just like watching Mark Hamill do Harrison Ford.
Oh,
it's so good.
Brilliant.
He's like, hey kid, if they're looking at our hair, then it's not a good movie. So something like said, like he's so good. He's so good at it. He even does him in Robot Chicken, I think.
Have you ever seen the clip of David Blaine going over to his house and is it David Blaine? Yeah, I think it's David Blaine. Going over to his house and doing magic tricks.
No,
I'll send it to you sometime this week. It's hilarious. Like they're in there and he does a magic trick and he has him cut like a piece of fruit in half, and Harrison Ford cuts the fruit in half and the card is in the fruit, and he's like, get the hell out of my house.
I think I might have seen that.
It's hilarious. Really good.
But what do you think of this supposed leaked title? So, The Order of Elysium.
Goths. That's all I can see in my.
Now, what's quite
exactly.
What's quite funny about this is that there's a certain YouTuber out there, I will not name him, but he did a video on this and then said, sorry, I think this is really funny. He said, now I reached out to my sources and I am 75% certain that this film title is legitimate. And I want to be like,
that's a very specific number.
How the hell did you come up with that number?
I am 74.3% certain that
I was watching it. I was like, what? You reached out to some guy and some guy told you, yeah, I'm 75% sure it's true. It's like, how is that a thing? Anyway,
according to my sources, I'm 75% certain. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh my god! But then there's all this leaks about what the film's going to be about. There's this whole thing about it being about the space race in the 1960s. That's possibly true. Mads Mikkelsen apparently is playing a former Nazi scientist who works for NASA. Now all this stuff comes from Reddit. So again, don't believe anything you read from Reddit.
I heard RMB, my guy that I listen to, say somebody was talking about Robert Meyer Burnett. I love that guy.
Mention those guys.
No, I know. I'm just doing. Yeah, like I don't want to get in trouble like talking about AH or JD, if you know what I'm saying.
Now this video's gone. This video's gone now.
No, but anyway, but I seem to remember they were talking about a train, maybe. Every time I hear that,
we should get a thing just saying technical difficulties, like the D.
Every time I hear that beat, the do 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 do, I always think of that terrible song.
I always think of Kung Fu Hustle.
And
anyway, long story short, there is a train car, maybe somebody on some video clip or something or some photo that has a swastika symbol on it, and they were talking about whether or not it was a flashback, and he said, I think it must be a flashback because if the Nazis were doing something, they wouldn't paint a giant logo on the side of the train after World War II.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah, because when it's after World War II, you're not going to have a giant swastika on your train. And so I thought that was really, really funny. And I overheard that. I think I was cleaning and it was something I had going in the background and I kind of grinned.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
Have you ever seen Doctor Strangelove?
Man, years ago.
There's a really funny bit in that when it's I think it's like, I can't remember, it's Peter Sellers is playing one of, is it the German in it who keeps on trying not to do the Hitler salute. It's just calls it his hand of
because
evil.
He's in a wheelchair and like half he's converted from being a Nazi scientist or whatever. But it's like subconsciously his right arm wants to raise up and he's got to keep trying to pull it down.
He's like,
Mandrake, it's all about liquid.
I saw that. I saw that in like 1995. And I was not in my right mind at the time, and we saw that in Kentucky Fried Movie, and I was
good double bill.
Yeah, and I don't remember much of either movie, but yeah, I was not in my right. I'll just say that I wasn't in my right mind at the time. So
and Raj brings up the best line in the movie. You can't fight in here. It's the war room. This is the war room. That's a great line from that movie. And he also adds war stew. I'll let you know it wasn't him. that was 75% sure. I want him to put the maths on Twitter to show us how he came up with that. But yeah, and James will probably hate me for bringing that up. 75% my mum told me. 3 of his 4 friends believe it. I think you guys actually know who it was that said that. But you know what? It's out there, and I thought it was funny, and I just wanted to write about it because it was amusing. But I think that title might be legitimate. Let's be honest. It might be called The Order of Elysium, and this film might. I'm pretty sure it will be about the space race. Again, I won't go into too much details on the leak because it could be spoilers, and that's not fun. That's not fair, you know. And I think I did say in the article that there's potential spoilers here. But again, if it comes from Reddit, I always say like this is probably someone that's just making this up. And also, I do want to go back to the things that were said about the Batman and. Like that came from Reddit, and if you actually read what the leak was, it's hilarious. And go and find that just for fun to read, because it's so obviously some annoyed Snyderverse fan that's just been like, there's a bit in it where he says the film is going to make fun. Oh, there we go. That's the scene. We're probably going to get in trouble for showing that.
Oh boy!
There's a bit in that leak where the guy.
Sorry, but if we get in trouble for showing a GIF from a Kubrick Peter Sellers movie, I'll take my lump.
Yeah. That in this potential leak from the Batman, the guy said the film is going to make fun of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Apparently, that's the big thing that's going to happen. I don't know how this person knew that. And then I'm saying he because I'm assuming that it's a he.
Boring.
I think I read this. Is he the whole time like in stupid Warner Brothers?
Stupid
blah blah
Warner
blah.
Brothers.
Yeah.
He keeps on calling them stupid Warner Brothers, and then the whole thing ends with, "But the movie's going to be good, though."
Was it written by Reese? Was it Reese who dropped that?
I don't know, and then the funny thing is that outlets took this and as if it was serious, and I was reading it and I was like, how are these Batman leaks legitimate? How are people actually talking about this as if it's actual news? And and then Doomschlop went out and did his video on that and being like, sources have told me that, and it's like, all right, fine, that's now probably got 1 million views on YouTube. So I suppose we're gonna ultimately, the world is a mess, and people
Yeah.
as far as this leak's concerned, again, take it with a huge pinch of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yes. You should do your own. You should start Bloomblop. So,
well, man, we got a little plans for something. I can get Clint to do the voice.
Bop.
He's so good at it. And all of us have Hanson hair. But yeah, let's move on to the next bit of news, which is, oh man, he is so good looking, isn't he? He is so good looking. Simu Liu is Shang-Chi. I'm not talking about him.
I thought you were talking about the girl singer of Hanson.
He was good looking, wasn't he? He is now, I think.
There was an old Beavis and Butthead where he's like, "That chick's hot," and it's it's like long hair, and he was young. It was funny. Anyway,
did you guys ever do anything with Hanson? Like, did you? No,
they
never turned up at any.
No.
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
No, they were we ran in different circles.
They were the Umbup guys. Oh man, but
Don't bullshit me.
the Shang-Chi trailer has been released, and well, first off, Clint, I want to know what you made of it. If you've watched it, right?
Yes, it looks awesome.
I think it looks so good.
Yeah, and then the ending was they had that little surprise thing that if you paid attention, and then if you got on social media, you saw it all over the place. People were like, "Oh my god, this might be the Abomination." Pretty sure it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it looks a little bit different than the one from before in the
Hulk movie. More fishy.
Yeah, but we've heard some She-Hulk rumors too, so it looks like it might be the Abomination.
The She-Hulk thing was announced. It was announced at Disney Investors. Kevin Feige said that Tim Roth is coming back. So Tim Roth is coming back as the Abomination in She-Hulk. It looks like it's going to be him in this film as well, in a kind of weird cage fight scene with Wong. Of all the characters to bring in.
Are we sure it was Wong?
It's Wong.
Yeah,
that's brilliant actually, because he's got a huge fan following too, and doesn't get a lot of screen.
Yeah, it definitely is Benedict Wong in that. Benedict Wong who plays Wong. Yes, I know it's funny.
It's cool. What's cool about that? The whole thing is that if they're giving us that in the trailer, what are we going to see in the movie? There might be all kinds of cool things. People doing fight scenes and stuff in this. It's going to be cool.
And I think this film. Now, I am really upset to hear that it's not coming out in China, and there are many reasons why it's not coming out in China. But I'm just so pumped for this movie. I think Simu Liu is just. I'm so happy for him. I'm watching. Me and my wife are binge watching Kim's Convenience right now, and he's so good in it.
It's a fantastic series. Yeah.
Do you recognize anyone in there?
Oh, there's Simu Liu, very good looking guy, and then there's some weird guy with a shotgun or something. Left.
Some crazy hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite a few years ago.
Look at those guns, though, and I'm not talking about the actual guns.
Look at that.
Yeah, so Simu, friend of the show. Are we going to say that? Are we going to call him friend of the show?
Frenemy.
Frenemy, really, James? Oh, we had to know what's
Friend
happening.
of me.
No. But yeah, he is Shang-Chi, and he's just looks so good in this film. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Of course, there's a family dynamic that's going on about the master of kung fu, who is Shang-Chi's father, and it seems as though Shang-Chi is very much on the side of his mother. There seems to be a rift in the family, and he's got to go back and confront his father. And I like these sorts of origin stories. Family is something that's big in the MCU, and it seems to be again big in this movie.
Family.
Yeah. Aquafina is pretty likable character too. You're a person too, so I think her being in this will be great.
I think I'm just really, really excited to see this movie, and I really hope it does well. I've been a bit worried about the numbers the trailer's been getting. It's not been getting many views, at least as far as I can tell on YouTube. It was like only number 27 in trending on Twitter. And then you compare that to like Eternals' trailer, which was number 1 in trending and that trailer did really well, even though I thought that trailer was boring. I'm going to be honest. I thought the Eternals trailer was pretty boring. I think this boring. Bring up the boring clip, James. do it when you're actually supposed to do it.
Yeah, I thought it just looked different.
Boring.
There we go.
I like intense, epic things. You know what I mean? I got the same vibe when I saw the Dune trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cool. This is going to be an intense thing where I can just melt into the seat and watch. And sometimes you get stuff that like you're freaking out, like F9. You're like, are they going to make the jump over the shark? And sometimes it's just like more about watching the story and seeing what's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to sit there and cry a little bit. It's like I think it's okay to have different kinds of Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And much like the episodes of Loki, and people that called last time the last one boring should check themselves before they wreck themselves, because I'm 75% sure that the next episode is going to be really good.
Oh man, you just brought me back to 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Before you wreck yourself, fool. So
how are you 75% sure?
I'm 75
on that one.
No gut.
I'm 75% sure.
It was based on a short film he made as a student called Electric Labyrinth, THX 1138 4EB.
Electronic Labyrinth.
What did I say? Electric. I hate George Lucas. Sorry.
Oh boy.
That was a fun day.
You got to put a pencil behind your ear. I'm 74% sure. Okay.
No, but I loved this trailer for Shang-Chi. This is the film that I'm really excited to see. I also think I just want to I want to see something different from the MCU, and this to me is very different. A martial arts film is something I've wanted to see from the MCU for a very long time. I think Simu Liu is going to be a really, really good addition to the cast. Shang-Chi is a very interesting character. And actually, I don't know if you saw Simu Liu's tweet calling out a lot of the haters today. It was quite funny because, of course, people for some reason like to say that Shang-Chi's boring. Even though...
I'll bring it up, Ed.
Yeah. And he said, I can't believe Marvel is making a Shang-Chi movie. Most boring character ever. Dude doesn't have any special abilities. No way it's going to do well. So I think that was a quote actually from somebody that he just put on Twitter. That I think he's just quite funny, really.
Shang-Chi can harness his chi in ways that he's mastered doing that in ways that other people can't. It's going to be a fun movie. It's got the Marvel tag on it. People just don't know who Shang-Chi is. A normal person doesn't know who Shang-Chi is, like the normies don't know who Shang-Chi is. So, yeah, it's probably not getting the numbers, but you know what? We've got a bunch of shows that wouldn't ordinarily get crazy numbers, but are doing really well because we're excited to have good content coming out. And I think when this movie comes out, people are going to talk about it, and there's going to be a buzz about it. If it's awesome, like all the other Marvel movies are awesome, there's going to be a buzz, and people will be like, well, my friend likes it. I need to go see what my friend likes, because people are bandwagon haters and bandwagon lovers. So I think everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon and fall in love with this movie.
There it is. There's his tweet. And I think you're completely right, Clint. Like, I think you should actually get an applause there, because that was perfect. But I also think there you go. That's for you, Clint.
Oh, thanks.
I think word of mouth is going to be an important thing for this film, like it was for Black Panther. I think Black Panther kind of got that as well. There was kind of the cultural aspect of it as well, which I think is going to be really big for Shang-Chi as well. It's the first Marvel movie to feature an Asian lead, it's literally just all Asian characters. And I think that's really, really cool. I think they've cast the movie really well. I love the fact that Simu Liu basically cast himself in the role on Twitter, which was funny. He just atted at Kevin Feige and said, hey, give me the Shang-Chi role. And they're like, yeah, here you go. I'm hoping it works for Captain Britain, but it still hasn't done yet. And
that tweet took like 2 or 3 years to get Kevin Feige, so you've got time.
Yeah, I've got time. I've also, I need to hit the gym as well and look like Simu Liu. But I really do think this is going to be, I think it's going to do really well. I just have a feeling it's going to do really well. And Prince Zodiac says 75% of my friends like this trailer. Oh man, I love how that's turned into a thing.
Yeah, and there's been a huge Asian hate
yes
push in the media and stuff, like bringing that to light. The perfect advertisement for this movie or marketing is like, if you don't like this, if you don't go see this movie, you hate Asians. They should just say that, and then and then, you know, or maybe not. I'm just
maybe not, but yeah,
maybe not. No, but
an element to that, I think.
What?
It's like, imagine the marketing people. If we put this tagline,
if you just say that, if you don't like Shang-Chi, you're no friend to Asian people. Yeah.
Oh man.
I agree with you on the Kim's Convenience, though. That's a really good show. I was like, what is all the buzz about? And I went to go check it out, and I spent like the whole day binge watching that show.
Yeah.
I got sucked in. I really enjoyed that show a lot. I need to go back actually and watch some more of that.
It's really good fun. He's really good in it as well. And
I also heard that they canceled it in a weird way. The writer, it's not like they got canceled. The writer just decided he didn't want to do another season, and the cast is kind of like, "Hey, man, can we close this thing right?" And he just
did a big disservice to the characters and the cast and the crew that worked so hard on the film. And there's a bunch of inner turmoil too that happened behind the scenes the last couple years. That they pretty much shut down a lot of the ideas from the Asian cast and just decided to go in their own route and stuff. And Simu Liu and the other actors and actresses were kind of really pissed off about that.
Wow.
You can kind of tell that I think I'm at season 5 now, and it's kind of taken a bit of a dive. I think the way the show's going, and apparently there was a big thing because there's not a single Asian person in the writers' room.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Written down all the cast and all the cast members' ideas or inputs. Simu tried to get in the writing room quite a few times, but they wouldn't even let him near.
It's so weird.
It seems like
there's a few couple articles you can look up.
It's a Canadian show, right?
Yeah.
And I thought all Canadians are lovely and nice.
Passive and nice.
I am so depressed about being Canadian. I mean, you want to talk about the mass graves of Indigenous children found the last month or two. I mean, I know like we all come from countries that have been taken from the original landowners, but yeah, it's just getting really depressing.
Crazy. Yeah, it seems like if you're gonna have a show about Asians and Asian culture,
Yeah.
you might want to have some Asians in the room for
No, and it's weird. Like it did kind of almost put me off watching the show, but I did watch it because
we've got several seasons under our belt. We understand how the Asians work. Let's just kick them out of the writers' room and let's finish. I'm 75% certain that we can handle this on our own.
But I mean, the good thing is that we're seeing the cast of that show in a lot more stuff. So the dad, Appa, as I like
he's
to call
awesome.
him, he's so good, and he was of course in The Mandalorian. And I was really, really hoping that it was going to be him in that starfighter at the end in the X-wing coming in. I was so hoping it was going to be him, and then all of a sudden he's like a Jedi Master, and I was like, that would have been so fun.
What if it's him fighting in the cage at the end of the Shang-Chi trailer?
Yeah.
Bring him in, and then Simu Liu, of course, is doing really big things now, and I'm pretty sure everyone all the actors out of that show are going to do well. But I'm pretty surprised that a Canadian show like that with such supposedly lovely people has gone so wrong at the end of it. It's
the
just
21st century, man.
I know.
The last 2 years are really, really messed up everywhere.
One of the things I really like when watching the show is hearing people say sorry in there.
Sorry.
They say it so much in the show. Sorry. It's like everyone.
You only have an accent if you live in a different country. That's what it's all
I
about.
know. I just think it's a cute way of saying sorry. It's sorry. It said so much. It's nice.
I like the British put an R at the end of saw. We saw her.
Sorry, I say sorry.
No, I know, but saw. If you say like, "Hey, I saw her crossing the street," British will say, I saw her. Like, there's a weird R in that's hard.
Like you just even an R at the end of that.
I'm like, that's a AW. There's no R in there, but sore.
Yeah, it's our language, mate.
Like, pass me some chips and salsa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What?
No.
How many more of these?
We say salsa, not salsa.
Salsa. Okay, that's different.
Salsa. Yeah. What we say saw if you saw something or saw movies or
drawing.
Yeah, but when something ends in like an
A drawing,
like the English usually puts an at the end of it.
Like what ends in an A?
I'm trying to think. I was just watching some recently, and
drawing is a perfect drawing. There's no R in there. It's
drawing.
D-A-R.
Yeah, but A-R is all.
It's
A-W.
A-W. Yeah, but it's not in like to us it's not. And so it's like
no, it's drawing.
Drawing. Yeah,
but not drawing.
Drawing.
There's no R after AW.
Maybe we should get Amber Heard on the show to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, you could be like,
Here we go. Dan just came up with that comment.
We're English. we're there. You go.
No, but actually, what I know that if it does feel like this is me kind of shitting all over Amber Heard, but I will say one thing about one thing about that nightmare sequence. One thing about that nightmare sequence is
not shitting on you.
She might shit on your bed first, though.
She's terrible in that scene. She's terrible in it. And what I will defeat all people. And then she's going around with 2 bloody boxes of water. I'm like, so you're only useful if you carry around 2 bloody boxes of water in a fucking nightmare.
But she's wearing the shit out of that suit, though, son.
Yeah, that's not an excuse. Her character in that scene is useless. My moment of shame.
Oh, it's a good one.
Oh dear. Right, should we round out the show now? Should we end it here with that perfect, like my best moments ever on live YouTube? Where can we follow you, Clint? Before we talk about
you can. There it is, the OG Clint Baker at youtube.com/Clint Baker channel or on Twitter, the OG
Captain on the Bridge. Captain on the Bridge.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh my god! And where can we find? You can find me. That's my face at Small Screen Co. and at EJ Lauder, Lauder, not louder. It's Lauder. We're talking about how to say things. And where can we go?
Larder.
Larder. At least Americans do say it right. I've never heard an American say louder, which is what I get called all the time, even though it's an established brand. It's my name, but never mind. Where can we follow you, James?
Foragey.com. Thanks, Edward.
And you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/smallscreenco. And then yes, we have to say thank you to all of our Patreons here. That we thank Bobby, we thank Danzig 1979, we thank the Sax God, and we thank Sean Harrigan. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure doing this content for you guys. And if you could also go to Patreon, that'd be wonderful. And then we would like to also thank Vin Diesel in a sausage roll and that cat.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So Julia's actually one of our writers. She says, I want to put you guys in an electric chair for this title.
Hey, Julia, you should be thankful for this title, because if we went with the original title Edward and Clint wanted to go with last night, it'd be a lot worse.
We just thought it'd be funny. Should we say what the original title was? No, that'll be
yeah.
You can also listen to this as a podcast. I'm gonna have to put that at the end of the podcast.
Boring.
And cut.